Again, we start with a precursor diploid cell up here, and again, ignore this, okay? You wouldn't have an egg and a sperm cell up in the ovary, okay? Where does oogenesis occur? We know it's in the ovary, but where within the ovary? In what structure? The follicle, okay? Remember, each follicle, a multicell structure, which a single egg cell called an oocyte develops, but not at the same rate. We saw that when that follicle is ripe and ruptures, it expels the egg at ovulation in the body cavity. That egg is not mature yet, like the sperm. When it leaves the testes, immature. So is the egg when it leaves the ovary, okay? In other words, it hasn't completed meiosis II. It's arrested in development. Now, what stimulates it to finish meiosis II and become a mature egg cell? What has to happen?
Fertilization.
Here's waiting. Okay, it's waiting for the sperm. What has to happen? The sperm has to get into the egg cell cytoplasm to stimulate it to finish meiosis II to become mature. Until that happens, it's just hanging out there in the oviduct and starting to pass slowly down. The sperm does not greet it and enter the egg cell cytoplasm. It degenerates and passes out with the menstrual flow. It never matures. Okay? It only is matured when a sperm gets into the cytoplasm. That stimulates it then to complete meiosis II and become a mature egg. Until that, it's not, and it won't mature. Okay? And again, fertilization in humans usually occurs in about the upper third of the oviducts or fallopian tubes. That's why that sperm has to be motile. Okay? If it's not motile, it's not going to make it. Because the egg is waiting for it as it comes down. Okay? And then actually we're going to see that embryonic development actually begins, if fertilization occurs, in that oviduct before it even gets to the uterus and implants. Okay, so here we are. Start with, again, a diploid body cell. This is called the oogonium, right here. It too undergoes mitosis, not meiosis. Produces another cell like itself, okay? Another daughter cell is going to be the primary oocyte. That's what this cell is, primary oocyte. It too is diploid. Remember, mitosis. With mitosis, you don't change the chromosome number. You start with a diploid cell. You end with diploid cells, okay? So one is going to be this primary oocyte. Another one's going to be basically a cell that's going to be another oogonium, okay? This cell then, the primary oocyte, undergoes meiosis I. It produces two daughter cells. One is going to be a secondary oocyte, haploid. The other one's going to be just a little teeny cell, it's not to scale here, called a polar body. Now the polar body is just a means of getting rid of excess chromosomes. You don't want equal division, cytokinesis, because the cytoplasm is precious. And the egg is going to contribute most of the cytoplasm to the embryo. And that's why we have diseases that involve organelles like the mitochondria and mitochondrial DNA. They're rare, but often very dangerous diseases. It's always the maternal line. So be we male or female, we got all our organelles originally derived from our mother's egg cell. All the mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi, and everything came from the egg cell, not the sperm. The sperm, like I say, just a tiny bit of cytoplasm. It's got mitochondria to power the flagellum, a bag of digestive enzymes, and a nucleus. That's about it. So like I say, the sperm is only there to get those chromosomes, male chromosomes, into the egg. Everything else better be there already, because the male's not going to contribute anything. Okay? Just the chromosomes. The egg's got to do the work, all right? What's new, okay? Just like life, right? One does all the work. Okay, so we got two cells here. They're both haploid, a secondary oocyte, and a polar body. Again, this is not to scale. Now this cell then is going to undergo meiosis II. And if it completes meiosis II, it'll become a mature ovum. But it's only going to do that if a sperm cell gets into its cytoplasm. When it leaves the ovary at ovulation, it's in this state, okay? It's a secondary oocyte. It hasn't completed meiosis II. The polar body may divide again and produce more polar bodies. Doesn't matter, because eventually they're all going to degenerate. As I said, the polar bodies are just there, get rid of excess chromosomes without wasting a bunch of cytoplasm. That's why these things are tiny. You don't want to waste precious cytoplasm when these cells are going to degenerate anyway. The precious cell is the oocyte, which can become the ovum. Like I say, it's got to have everything there, just waiting for the sperm, okay, to wake it up and say, finish, okay? Now let's get this process going. Because all the organelles, again, cytoplasm of the egg. The only thing a male is really contributing is male chromosomes. Okay, so we get down here, and it's not quite accurate. There should be a sperm cell here. This is the mature ovum. This would only be if a sperm cell is already in the egg cell cytoplasm, and then, of course, you get the diploid cell, which is the zygote, the fertilized egg. Okay? And notice we started with one precursor cell, the oogonium, diploid, and how many eggs do we end up with? One. One for one. That's because these extra cells, the polar bodies, are going to degenerate. They're not important, okay? We only want one good egg and forget all these polar bodies. Like I say, the polar bodies are just a way to get rid of these excess chromosomes and not waste cytoplasm in the process, okay? Any questions? Again, where does this occur? Oogenesis? Within the follicle, inside the eggs, okay? Again, I would like you to know the cells here by name, whether haploid or diploid, and if they're human cells, how many chromosomes. So diploid human cell, 46, 23 pairs. Haploid human cell, 23 single chromosomes, unpaired. Okay? So study these charts. I'm going to start with the labeled charts, and then you get confident for the unlabeled ones. Pick them up. You will see these again. I'll just tell you right now. Okay? Just give me a couple test questions right there. Question?
Meiosis II